Today, I'm bringing you 5 tips for easier SP-404 Mark II effects management, and we're getting to it as soon as I shout out today's patron. That shout out goes to Alex Morgan. Thank you so very much for the support. Let's get started. Cue the obligatory SP-404 Mark II intro. It's a very powerful and versatile device that can do just about anything. But there's a million different button shortcuts to learn, and you could really spend a lifetime just exploring this one device. So I put together this little video to hopefully make the effects section a little easier to manage, because a lot of people actually just buy this thing to use as an effects box. It's that good at it. I should also note that a lot of these tips are things I only learned this year, and some of them are things I've learned just in the past couple of weeks. So hopefully you learn at least one new thing from this video. Let me know how many of these you knew and how many you didn't, and if you have any other tips for people out there, especially when it comes to effects. So this first tip has to do with selecting an effect to go into the MFX slot. So normally what you do is you hold down this MFX button, and then you use the main knob here to select an effect across 3 different pages. I'm not sure how it took me so long to figure this one out, but when you're holding the MFX button down, the 16 pads down here actually represent the 16 effects on screen. That's pretty self-explanatory, right? But you'll notice up at the top there, it says page 1 of 3. Now, naturally, we scroll through, right, with the knob, and that's how we get to page 2 and 3. But there's actually another way. When I'm holding MFX, I can hold the DJ Looper button down here and get to page 2. Now, all of a sudden, I can select all those effects with the pads from page 2, and as you may have guessed, when you hold Isolator, you get to page 3. This might not seem like that big of a deal, but what it winds up giving you is something to physically memorize, like a physical action that you can commit to memory. For instance, I know that if I want to get to the reverb, I quickly hold MFX, DJFX Looper, and press pad 1. There we go, I'm on Looper. If I want to get to backspin, I hold MFX, hold Isolator, backspin is pad 4. Just like that. It's so much faster than holding this down and having to scroll, accidentally going too far. You don't want to be doing this in the middle of a live performance. No, you want that Juno chorus, boom, right there. You want that SX reverb, boom, right there. You want that, I don't know, 303 vinyl, right there. You want the wah, right there. It's that easy. Moving on to tip number 2. Let's say you're busy assigning effects here, and oh shoot, I didn't mean to have the time-controlled delay on bus 2 and the stopper on bus 1. I meant to have those on opposite buses. I messed that up. Well, instead of having to go into each bus, turning off the effect, go into the other bus, turn it off, and then, go find the right one, you can simply hold Remain and press Bus Effect, and what that will do is switch the buses. So we had the time control delay on bus 2, now it's on 1. We had the stopper on bus 1, now it's on bus 2. Remain, Bus Effect. There we go. I know some people have said this shortcut isn't that handy, but if you're going for it, you're really in the moment, it's pretty easy to accidentally wind up on the wrong bus and selecting an effect for a group of sounds you did not want that effect on. You can just hit Remain and then Bus Effects and it'll swap them like it never happened. Next up, tip number 3. This also has to do with this Bus Effects screen. And that's because, as you can see, when we hold it down, we get a little insight to buses 3 and 4 there. Specifically, we just get to know if they are on or off. Now, if you're like me, which you probably are because I think most people do this, you typically will have like a compressor or an EQ or maybe a little bit of reverb, something like that on buses 3 and 4, because those are effectively your master effects. That's the last thing that the signal goes through before it goes out the back. Awesome that we can do that. However, what's not awesome is sometimes you're sampling in and you don't want to run your sampled sounds through buses 3 and 4 before you sample them. You want them completely dry on the unit, not going through a reverb or compressor or whatever you have on buses 3 and 4. So typically what you would do is hold Shift, pad 16 to effect settings, scroll all the way over, go down here, set the input bus to, dry 1, 2, affect your dry routing there. It's kind of a pain. Well, did you know you can actually toggle buses 3 and 4 on and off simply by holding down the main knob here and tapping Bus Effects. Look at that. Off, on, off, on, off, on. It's that easy. I keep saying it's that easy, but it really is that easy. This means if you want to sample something in, very quickly turn buses 3 and 4 off, do your sampling, get your pad on there, and then turn them back on. 2 clicks. Boom, 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 boom. That's it. Okay, tip number 4. I know this one is going to be very popular with people because it's been, let's just say it, game-changing for me. You know when you go to turn an effect on here on the 404 Mark II, let's say, I don't know, the resonator here, and before I can even finish my sentence, the screen has taken the parameters away. They're barely on there. So then you have to toggle it off and turn it back on if you want to see them. Or you have to start wiggling a knob and that inadvertently changes the effect. Maybe you just wanted to see what the parameters were at. You didn't want to actually adjust them. Well, did you know that you can simply hold remain and press the effect button? And now the effect parameters are not going anywhere. Doesn't matter how long the sentence runs on for, they're not going to leave the screen. It is a lifesaver. It's so handy, and I wish I would have known this sooner because it really makes this thing so much more pleasurable to work with. This was one of my biggest annoyances for years until I finally discovered this, and I was like, oh my god, what have I been doing? What's cool, though, is you can actually access the second page of parameters by pressing in the main knob, and it's just a toggle between the 2 pages. You don't have to hold it down like you normally would. Look at that. Now I can adjust like the panning there, my resonator, switch it back, change the root note, and the effect parameters have not gone anywhere. I can also, by holding remain and pressing another effects button, go directly to that effect, and still the parameters are not leaving the screen. Simply incredible. You'll also notice I'm not actually toggling the other effect on, too. So I'm looking at stopper parameters and adjusting them while the resonator is still on. That's huge for people who want to set up effects early before they actually kick in. Apparently I have the stopper on the other bus too. Oh, I did. Now, before I get to tip number 5, I do want to give you a bit of a bonus tip as well. Get a pattern going here. Bus 2, turn on the filter and drive, bring that cutoff down, right? Sounds nice. We can turn it off like that. Turn it on, off. We can pretty quickly toggle between having those on and off, but what if there was an even faster way to perform your effects in real time? Well, did you know if you hold the enter knob and hold the effect down, it'll turn the effect on, but when you release it, it turns the effect off. This makes performing even easier when it comes to using your effects in real time. But that's actually not the proper tip number 5 that I had for you all. No, the proper tip number 5 I have for you is the ability to actually save the settings of your effects. So let's take that filter and drive, for instance. I'm going to hold remain and press filter and drive so it stays on the screen. I know for a fact when you get your hands on a 404 Mark II for the first time, by default, the super filter goes to high pass mode. I don't know about you. I don't use high pass filters nearly as often as I use low pass filters. So I would love if this started as a low pass. So I'm going to set it as a low pass. I'm going to go ahead and set the resonance and cutoff where I want it to start whenever I turn on the unit and use the effect. I'm actually going to take all the resonance out of it. There we go, 0. Check this out. If I hold shift and mark for 3 seconds, it's going to say saved EFX parameters. Now, whenever we engage the super filter again, it's going to automatically be a low pass filter with the cutoff all the way open and 0 resonance. We can also adjust page 2. I didn't do that, of course, but it'll just save. And it's just like that now. Watch this. Power it off, power it back on. Engage the super filter. Boom, right there. So handy. You can do this with all of your effect settings, including the input effects. You can actually save specific parameters for your input effects. So there you have it. 5 tips to make the effects section a bit more manageable on the SP-404 Mark II. Again, let me know in a comment down below. How many of these did you know? How many did you not know? Did I miss anything? I'm sure I did. There are tons of shortcuts and things to learn about the SP-404 Mark II. leave them in a comment down there. I want to learn more. Please teach me. I do hope this video taught you something. If not, I at least hope you found it entertaining. If you did, be sure to leave a like on it. If not, you know where that little thumbs down button is. Doesn't hurt my feelings, just makes me try that much harder next time. Either way, be sure to hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. Thank you all so very much for being here. Hope you don't mind all the SP-404 Mark II content lately. I'm not stopping. I love this thing. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye.